while others join in, maybe Sri, we should get started because we have exactly 1 hour, right?
Yeah, we could start. No problem.
Yeah, just give me a minute. I'm also trying to get in, and there was some technical problem on my laptop. So I think we are there, right? Like see, today we are very happy to have you all here. So we would want to explain you how we achieved, managing the rebates using condition contract management. So that is what we wanted to do. But many of you who are managing rebates know there are many products which are there for rebate management. So Vistex and those kind of softwares are basically utilized for that. It's a big topic basically. And why rebates need to be managed? The biggest question everybody asks. The answer for it is we need to manage rebates because when you get your rebates on time, it directly adds to your bottom line. That means your profit is going to be directly related to whatever value you are trying to get over there. So it is very, very important. So for other organizations which are kind of heavy on their profits and other this may be a minuscule amount. But for distribution like organizations, like we are very small. Our percentages in terms of the profits are very, very thin, and we live in rebates. That's how basically it is. Many places you might have gone, you might have seen hotels where the servers basically live on tips. So that is how this rebates will look like. So it is very, very important for us to manage this, right? So that's why we try to look at different this one. Then we thought, when all information are available within SAP, it makes sense to use a functionality which is available within SAP itself. Okay, so that is how it is. So just if you look at this particular thing, you might have seen so it's not a big bang. Like you may not have the full feature ready for you immediately, because what happens is you need to go with an incremental development. That's what I'm trying to show through this picture. So don't expect yourself to develop this everything perfect upfront, because you yourself might not know what situations are. First, try to capture things in the system. Once you capture things in the system, you will understand how different use cases are going to work for you. Then you have all the ability to tweak SAP into what you need. Okay, so if you really look at, this is the contents which we are going to take you through. We are not going to show any SAP screens for the sake of data privacy. Okay, so that's why we are only looking into this one. But there are many informations which are being shared in this particular slide, which will take you along this one, because it requires a good amount of you putting your hands on things, because same thing we did, and the SAP documentation and the blogs which are available within SAP are very much adequate for you to really configure these things in your own system. Okay, and settlement management, we will go with an overview. Then we will go with condition contract process for purchase and sales. The advantage in S4HANA is basically all that is brought into one, the purchase as well as sales. Then we have a sell-in process and sell-through process. Sell-in process is basically what you kind of get because you are kind of inverting material. Sell-through is basically you are selling material, but you are trying to get something because you are selling it that way. And then there are improvement areas which are being available. Transaction codes and reports are given, and blogs has been also provided in this. Okay. If you really go into the settlement management, if you really look at, like I told you, like it is integrated in S4HANA. So 1709, you have this functionality. I think SAP also, if you really look at, there is, they outsource this activity to somebody, and I think that's the German guy who basically tries to work this completely. Anywhere you question somebody, he will come and answer on this. Okay, and OTC and PTP scenarios, both it takes care. That means this much of sales I have done, so I should get this much of rebate, or this much of procurement I have done, so I can get this much of rebate, are all possible. Okay, and the functionality, they have really done it very well in S4HANA. Okay, and it is very flexible. If you once start using it, you will understand. And basically, it reduces a good amount of data footprint because it is all available within SAP itself. If you're going in for any third-party system, you need to duplicate this data in the third-party system to even calculate that. Okay, so that is how it is, and you don't need to buy any additional license. So that means you are trying to leverage on your investment. Okay. Now, in fact, here what will happen is now Sri Gupta will take you through this. He will tell you what are all the things which are available within the condition contract process and how basically we try to calculate. Sri Gupta, over to you.
Good morning, guys. This condition contract process, I think so. Bernie sir has given an overview what it is doing in relation to SAP. So I will tell you the process how it is working in SAP. So this condition contract process consists of 3 areas. One is the creation of condition contract, then the settlement run, that is called the settlement program. Then after creating the settlement program, the settlement documents that we are going to generate. That means the accounting document that we are going to generate there. So this condition contract area consists of 2 basic things, that is the business volume selection criteria and the settlement calendar. So while doing customization in the top, there would have been a customization whereby in the condition contract, you will have 2 areas, that is header and item level, the split criteria. Second thing, the condition with the base scale or with the scale. The third thing is transfer rules of document creation. The second thing, the data source, what is the business volume selection criteria is taking. One is the sales orders, purchase orders, deliveries, invoices, GRIR, whatever may be the case that are available in the system. Second thing is the settlement run. Based on the business volume selection criteria, the system is calculating the total volume that we have given for a settlement calendar. The third thing is, after doing the settlement program run, you will have a detailed statement. Based on that, the system will calculate the actual rebate that is going to be posted in our system, that will be receivables or payables.
Okay. So here, if you really look at, what do you mean by a settlement calendar? That means what happens is, so why do businesses do this? It's basically, for example, let me look at, somebody is trying to, sell something from his business. Okay, he comes and approaches us and he gives us, you please sell this for us. And if you sell this much of volume or this much of quantity or whatever it is, he says you will get a rebate of this much percentage of value, or maybe certain times it may be a support price also. That means every piece you sell, you will get 100 rupees. Something like that. So these are all benefits. Basically, we try to get out of the whole this one. And they have different scales also. They try to provide saying that, if you sell 1,000, you will get this much, and 1,000 to 2,000, you may get even more kind of options are available. And there are specific programs which are specific to regions and other this one. So all that is possible. Whenever a customer, vendor comes to you, he can give you all possible ways in which he can give a rebate to you. But the thing is, your program should be really capable enough to handle every scenario. Okay, here one of the important thing what you need to look at when you are designing this is basically to have the number, the material number should be equivalent to your MPN or manufacturing part number. So that way it becomes very, very easy, because what happens, the vendor deals with you on the manufacturing part number. If you create your own material numbers, then it goes for a toss to even find out what goes in for the MPN number. So that way you need to be very careful while designing this. Important is that the MPN number should be the base. Then you should know what timeline, and the timeline is possible. Certain times what happens is beyond the timeline also you may receive material, but still you want to account it. So that is also possible. So there is an inclusion exclusion option which is available within this one. That means what happens post the period. If you have included certain things, subsequent period, if some other rebate falls, then automatically it will get double accounted. That's why you can also exclude in the subsequent contracts what you are trying to create. So these are all possible. And you can consider anything in terms of this one, the data source basically for you to verify and determine the business volume is sale order, purchase order, invoices, goods movement, settlement management documents. So all that are possible, which can be referenced for you. So those things are configurable basically within the system. You need to tell the system which is And how do you tell the system is basically based on your order type. Okay, the contract, the type, whatever
Yes.
you are using in terms of this one, determines what kind of search it needs to do, or the ability to do things are very much available within the system. And apart from that, what you can also do is you can also update all information within the system. If you have any vendor communication, any exceptions are handled or something like that, all that can be checked in within the documentation, what is available within the contract. So that way, what happens is any point of given time, audit or anybody who comes and verifies these things knows that you have followed a very fair process in terms of claiming the rebates. Because you also are susceptible to vendor audits, because vendor also comes and checks whether have you done the process properly, you have not done any malpractice in claiming something. So all that you will be in a position as an organization to prove your compliance within the organization. So that means it improves efficiency, it improves compliance. You can move to the next slide.
So this condition contract purchase process consists of the 4 areas. One is maintain contracts, where we will be having condition contract type. Whether we are going for purchase means we will use OP01. If we are going for sales means OS01. There you can have multi-vendor, single vendor, whomsoever. Then you have vendor data. That is, what is the vendor name? What is the volume that you are going to select based on the vendor or based on the material type? Then we have an organizational data where you will be updating your purchasing organization as well as the purchasing group against which you are going to claim the rebates. That is also available. So business volume is a place where you determine what will be my actual purchases or actual sales. It determines the area where you will be clearly mentioning what is the purchase or sales that I have done for a specific period. Then the settlement calendar. Settlement calendar is the place where you will determine on which date I am going to settle the contract, and I am going to send it to the vendor or the customer by settling the dues or receiving the dues from the vendors. The last thing is the condition. What is the condition that we are going to use? Whether we are going to have an accrual entries or we are going to have a settlement entry, this condition type will be using. The second area is the release. You are going to release a contract. So whatever you have created, there should be a area where you can release the contract. So this release concept will come. So it will be useful for the audit purpose, so that one can be a creator and one can be a releaser. Then the third area is the purchase process. In the purchase process, you have different, that is based on the purchase order, you can have a contract. Based on the GRN, you can have a contract, or on the invoice receipt, you can have a contract. The fourth thing is the document settlement. So what type of settlement you want to do? Whether you want to do a partial settlement, or you want to do a final settlement, or it can be delta settlement also. After final settlement, you can do a delta settlement, or you want to put an accrual entries for this, you can also use it. So this document settlement plays a major role. For every contract, you should have a final settlement, which is mandatory. So for a period of 3 months, if a vendor or the customer is asking for a contract, or he's asking for a rebate, then what you will do is you can partially settle it, and at the time of final settlement, you can full and finalize it, and you can pay it to the partner, or you can claim it from the vendor. These accrual entries will act as a subsequent entry for which there will not be having any impact on the profit and loss area. So when you do a settlement only, these accrual entries automatically get reversed, and you will have the final settlement record that will be the final entry for your claim or for your payment. So the controls that we have found out is you can monitor contracts, conditions, settlement calendars, business volume, and settlement documents. All these things are available in a form of a T code where you can go ahead and check all these details. So if you see here, the functionalities, the creating programs. While creation of programs, you have these type of conditions. One is condition, quantity conditions, value conditions, percentage conditions, sales conditions, graduated scale conditions. The next thing is in the business volume determination, you have these type of inclusive and exclusive scenario. So inclusive and exclusive is nothing but we can include a supplier and exclude a supplier. Means while we are selecting a material, we can include these type of vendors can be built in and these type of vendors can go out. So you have the business volume based on supplier, material group, that is your profit center, based on plant or multiple plants or multiple suppliers. And the rebate calculation, business volume determination should be defined while creation of contract itself, and it should be very clear that what I'm going to determine it. Then you have the settlement method, what I have given here. And the other functionality you have partner determination also, account postings, you have attachment function also, you can release the contract, you have contract reversals, you have audit logs enablement, and even the external identifier. You can maintain an external identifier based on your contract. The vendor will provide you a program name. You can maintain it as an external identifier as a mandatory thing. So for future reference, you can pull out this external identifier based on the vendor program.
Yeah, all that basically, if you really look at, inclusion, exclusion, one of the scenarios, what I told was to exclude certain material, which falls out of the timeline. There are also possibilities where, what happens is, you may have, a material group, and you want to exclude certain materials out of that group. Then you can give the group and you need not enter every material in the particular this one when you are creating the program. So the material for consideration, for example, there are 10 materials. You want to consider only 8, but all these 10 materials are within one material group. So you can specify a material group and exclude 2 material. So that way what happens is you can very efficiently create contract. So all these functionalities are available for you to efficiently use that. So see, today you may not understand because we have been using this for a while. So we understand how these things improves our efficiency overall. Yeah, can move next. I think the same. Okay, you came on this. Okay, here if you really look at certain times what happens, we can have single vendor, multi-vendor scenarios are basically what happens is many a times there is a product group which is available. The company may do multiple products, but when they come, they come as one vendor and they try to come and this one for you in your system, it may be multiple vendor. So then what you can do is you can club everything together when it is a multiple vendor. Single vendor means no issues, which is straight away, it is vanilla. Okay, and conditions can be quantity based, value based, percentage based, base scale and graduated scale. So if you really look at quantity based in the sense, this many numbers you sell, this many you will get. So value based in the sense, this many, kind of
this much value
you need to sell. So anything crosses that value, you will get some support. Okay, it can be a percentage support, it can be a direct support of value or something like that. Okay, then percentage again, very clearly. Base scale is basically if you minimum you need to achieve this to even get into a rebate qualifier. Okay, scale is basically every scale has kind of certain this one where you cross one scale, you get some percentage, you cross another scale, you get another percentage for the overall. But when you look at graduated scale, what happens is like your income tax. For the first set of scale, you will get this much percentage, second set of scale, another percentage is applied. So it will be utilized in that way. And business volume can be determined in any this one. This is the same, this one, whatever we have been speaking so far in a different way of representation. Yeah, and we can also create contract hierarchies. And releasing contract is basically your maker checker. Basically, the releasing person will be the person who is a kind of a checker. He approves. Release is nothing but an approval from his side. And the similar way, partial, final, and delta accruals. See, partial settlement, why it is being done. Certain times, what happens is you really that quarter would have been over. You need to show in your books that how much has been accrued in terms of rebate for this particular this one. Though we would have not realized, then it is better for us to know how much we have come so far. So those things can be done through partial settlement. And so you can also reverse the settlements. So that is also possible. Certain times what happens is you might have done something. Possibility is that you might have wrongly calculated. So you can take this one back. And you can also do approval workflows. Because in some scenarios, what happens is, see, many salespeople, what happens, they go and commit some percentage to the partners. Okay, and if it is manual document, it is very, very difficult. But if you can have, again, multiple departments are involved. You cannot kind of go as a salesperson and give something. The person who is driving the business says, no, I cannot give you the rebate. It becomes a problem. So what happens? This person, tries to create a program, a contract, and the particular contract is also being approved by business. So all relevant parties take this one. So accounts also makes an approval. So what happens is accounts keep some provisions because they know that I need to release this fund if this is being achieved. Okay, unless it is achieved, they will hold the provisions, and once it is achieved, they will utilize it from the provisions. So that way, what happens is you can really handle very, very efficiently your cash flow within the organization, right? So when you are trying to go for a sell through, that means what happens? You are providing support to your partners. Okay, so if you achieve this much, I am giving you this much of rebate. Okay, so and this pass through also we have certain times vendor provides us the support so that we give it to the kind of partners. That is also possible. So if you really look at when I quickly try to look at we created some 264 permutation combination possible at this point of time. Next.
So this is with regarding to the sales process. I think so. Everything looks the same thing. Only when there is a sales process, what we will look into is the sales order or the outbound delivery or post goods issue or the billing document. Mostly with regarding to the sales process, we go into the billing document because it will be a standard process. Based on the billing document, we can determine our sales, how much we have done for a particular specific or a particular time gap. So I think so all other areas remains the same, only the sales process gets included here. So if you see the current scenarios, what we have is value-based scenario and the quantity-based scenario and the graduated scale scenario, that too in the purchase area. If you see it, value-based scenario means what Barney sir has explained in the previous PPT, that is, it is based on the value what you determine. If the vendor says that if you achieve 10,000, you will be getting 2% of rebate. So they have to achieve the 10,000 to get the 2% of rebate. If it is a quantity-based scenario means if you achieve 10 quantities, you will be getting this much of amount for each quantity. So it is based on the quantity scenario. And the graduated scale is same like the income tax calculation, what Barney sir has said clearly. So it will be based on the graduated. If you achieve 1 to 10, you will be getting 10%. If you achieve 20 to 30, you will be achieving 20%. So based on that, the determination will happen and the contracts will be getting created. While doing settlement, these scenarios will be looked into and the conditions will get revolved and we will be getting the exact result in the account posting. So this is with regarding to the sell through process, that is our sales process. If you see it, in sales, we have multiple things are available. That too in the inclusive, that is the business volume determination. One is customer, material groups. We have one more thing called MFMs, that is manufacturing part number. Based on the manufacturing part number, most of the vendors provide us a rebate. So the same thing we have included here. Then we have billing document. Then based on the tax minor code, we get certain rebates there. So all other areas remains the same. Only the business volume determination. You can see here the business volume determination plays a major role here. If you configure this area into a proper way, then I think so the major process will get resolved. You can get your exact result.
Yeah.
So the same thing in the sell through also, we have the same determinations and same thing. You can have single customer, you have multiple customer, you have the business volume. You can see here how many business volume we have: customer, material groups, plants, bill to city, invoice, manufacturing part number, sales districts. Then we have a combination of material and customer. Then we have multiple combination of customer, material, invoice. This combination will be for a particular customer. In a particular invoice, I want this material alone to be provided with a rebate. That can also be configured in the business volume. And the minor codes, based on the minor codes, the tax will be getting, because for hardware, we have a separate minor code, and software, we would have been given a segregation. Based on that segregation, you can work it out. So apart from that, all the other areas remains the same. The condition contract works in the same way. Here also the same thing, value-based scenario, quantity-based scenario. And we have quantity and value skill scenario also. So majorly in the sales area, if you have sold 10 quantities, you will get this type of rebate. We give it to the partner. So if the partner purchases 10 quantity, then we have to provide a rebate. So the basic things that are available in the purchase and sales, both are same. Only the business volume is the area where you have to determine how you are going to provide the rebate. Then I think so in Bernie sir, in the initial stage, he has said that we have a document storage system for each contract. For in case of audit purposes, we require the document storage, what we have received from the vendor or what we are committing to the partner. Everything you can store it in the condition contract area while creating the contract, so that it will be an external reference for auditors or for any other person who are going to approve the contract. So this functionality is also available there.
So I just wanted to also give you an idea in terms of this one. So you go to the next this one. So these are the transaction codes which are available, and you have Fiori apps which are standard for this functionality. Okay, and if you go into WCO, you will be in a position to create the contract, like how you create purchase order, sales order. Same type of enjoy screens are available. You have the header where you can provide certain details. So specifically timeline is coming as a header information. That means what period, like from to period. This is defined in that time period. And then you have your kind of a purchase organization or sales organization. Those are things which basically you need to define over here in terms of this one of the header kind of condition. And you also define the contract type in terms of which contract type you are trying to use. So based on that, the rest of the screens can be defined, based upon what information you need. And if you come to the rest of the screens in the edge screen and the item level, what will happen is you will be in a position to define, what is the determination, volume determination you will be providing this one. And also you will be providing the detail in terms of how you need to calculate. You have procedures which are being available, calculation procedures, which are similar to your pricing procedures, whatever you do in your PO as well as sale order kind of. If you are familiar with the pricing procedures, you will be knowing very clearly how to handle this. In fact, in S4HANA, if you really look at the procedures have been simplified very heavily. Okay, so once you know one, you will be in a position to very clearly use. And it is same practice how we used to do that, right? Like OS01 or OP01 are basic things which are available. We always copy that and then try to handle, or tweak that into our kind of customizations. The standard are always very clearly available. If something is not handling the standard, you can create contract type using Z. So which is also possible. So you can do that, and it helps you a lot in terms of the volume determination as well as how you need to treat the calculations. All that are possible. Okay.
So the other things I think so with regarding to the settlement area, whereby you can do a settlement. I have told you about the 3 areas whereby Bernie sir told you where you can create a contract, what are the things that are available. Then the next thing is the settlement area where you can use for vendors, you can use WB2R, which I have mentioned here _SV. So there you can settle the contract, and based on the settlement, you will get the exact results. So what you are going to claim it from the vendor. The next thing is with regarding to the customer, settlement will happen, and what is the liability that we are going to pay it, that we will have. If any accruals we have created and for which we have to do a reversal, you can do it in this T code. And if you want to manually process a document, you can go to the 5th T code, that is WB2R _document entry. But basically, on the first 3 areas, you will be concentrating, whereby if you settle it automatically, the system will pass an automatic entry whereby what will be the claim that you are going to get from the vendor, or what is the liability that we are going to post it to the customer. Everything will happen automatically. If you want to have a hot stop there, that I will settle it afterwards, I want to check it and I will post an entry, you can have a hot stop configuration there. Then you can go to WZR2 where you can have the order postings there manually by clicking it an account posting, post for accounting. Then we have your reversal documents where you can reverse the posting what you have done. So these are all the T codes which are available right now for the condition contracts, for creation as well as settlement, as well as for accounting entries. there are certain more T codes which are available for your document, that is document purpose. What are the documents that have got created? If you go to all these T codes, you will get all the documents that you have created, contracts, as well as the settlement documents or the business volume, what you have created, whether it is right or wrong. You can check it in all these T codes. And even in the workflow bench, workbench, you can see what is the workflow you have created, how it has gone to each members. That is, if it is a sales manager, whether it has gone to the sales manager or in the purchase manager or in the contract manager, whatever may be the case, who has created it, who has approved it, and what is the exact status of that workflow.
And if you really look at, what happens is generally in an organization, there will be somebody who does the transaction. There will be somebody who will be doing the approvals, and there will be somebody who will be looking at reports. So all the three are basically handled through all the transaction codes, what is being defined over here. So, display, GRN, basically we used a Z, but generally you have possibilities where you can also look into how you can get that. Can move next.
So these are the two blocks that I have updated here, where you can have a detailed explanation how the configuration happens. So how the system works, how we have to use our condition contract management here in S/4HANA system. So based on these blocks only, we have started working on it and we have developed our system. So you can go into these blocks and you can check it out.
Yeah, and you have help.sap.com, which provides, details regarding the specifics in terms of how, each kind of things handled. Then you can go anyhow, SPRO, very well, you can get into that and you can figure out where basically you can try to configure these systems, and very much it is standard. There is nothing great about this. If somebody knows how to do a sale order or a purchase order, they will be in a position to handle this very easy. Right?
So
yeah. And there we stop at this point, I think, patiently listening for 30 minutes of our this one. So now the session is open for questions. I think some questions are coming.
Hello, participants. Now feel free to ask questions which is relating to the subject. I'm sure this is a very good opportunity to post questions from real-time customers who have been using this. Please feel free to it.
At least in my experience, I have seen not many have been using this, but this is a very powerful tool within SAP.
Generally, I've seen when people get such information, they're trying to process the information first before they can actually ask a question. So maybe I'll start with a question, not a question, maybe start a conversation. So that's another way to put it, right? So what made you look at this in the first place? So what were some of the, how do I put it, reasons why you started looking at this solution?
Okay, so see, let me tell you, see, the moment when you have very limited rebate programs which are available when you do the business, it is very easy to handle with an Excel sheet and email. Okay, but when it becomes too large, that means we get to an extent of say a 3-digit or 4-digit programs within a quarter, then it becomes very, very difficult to manage. And what happens is these things come at a very short notice, and you need to immediately respond to it, indicating, where you are. For example, it is like this, see, you have sold 900 volume, 900 quantity, and if you have sold 1,000, you will get 1% rebate. So 100 numbers, would you put a 1% on the total cost on your lap? So if you really don't react, that is, you lose an opportunity. If you don't know that you have only done 900, you lose the opportunity of getting that 1%. So if you know, see, what information is the key for all the business. So we need centralized information. This is number one. Number two, whenever we go for an audit, vendor comes and asks saying that, how did you justify this? And by the time somebody has this one, somebody would have left the organization, he would have kept it in his laptop. We would have not been serious about it. We would have even purged that laptop. Okay, so we don't have an evidence to even show to the vendor. And you know very clearly today, the kind of data retention and other things are very much asked in terms of compliance and other things. So we are running a huge risk. Okay, suddenly somebody comes and says that no, like you are wrongly done. You don't even have a proof to show, right? So it's a vulnerable situation. No, like it is very, very important that we need to put a process around it, and it need to be a centralized process. There should be one single information or one single system of truth which is available. So we found this feature is more useful in terms of getting this done. So it's not that we stuck with this, no, like we did Vistex and what was the other product?
Vistex and FinToff.
Yeah. So there were many other products which we were also trying to look at it. Then we decided on SAP basically because one is it doesn't cost you. Second thing, you have all the features. You need to kind of find a way to configure it. It took some time for us, but yes, we have done that.
You've actually ticked off all three reasons why you should do a IT project, right? So number one, it adds to your bottom line. Number two, it reduces or minimizes risks. And number three, it is simply more efficient to do it like this. So all three key items for an IT project, or for that matter, any project, your project is kind of ticked off. That's really, really good to know. So anyone else, even if you don't have a question, and if you have a comment or if you have a thought which comes to you when you have actually listened to this entire session that Barney and he have presented, a good idea to maybe use the reactions button to raise your hand, or on the chat put in your question so I can ask it on your behalf if you're not comfortable asking, or even maybe just unmute yourself and ask the question. We have a shy audience today. That's surprising. Indians are not known to be shy.
Yeah, anything good, bad, ugly will be in a position to ask. No, I definitely understand. If I would have run you through screens, it would have been much more this one, but the data privacy doesn't allow me to do those things. Okay, and if I had a demo system, that would be a different situation altogether. But this was purely, kind of the system which we are using in lab. Yeah.
So maybe let's further the conversation that I started with you as well, right? So from a benefit point of view, I mean, of course, it reduces your risk, it increases compliance, and adds to the bottom line. But have you seen any numbers in terms of how much have you added to the bottom line so far? How much in terms of cost? You said it is already available as part of the solution, so there is not much cost from a licensing point of view. But I'm pretty sure that you would have invested some time, some people who actually did the little bit of configuration or the customization that you spoke about. So from an ROI point of view, is there some numbers that you can share? Is it too early to?
No. We see, the thing is here we were getting the returns basically. So if you really look at now, there were somewhere around 4 to 5 people who were trying to manage this. The volumes have increased. In fact, it has at least tripled, and still we are handling it with the same number of manpower. So that is a big advantage for us. Otherwise, we would have added some more manpower here.
Okay.
And somebody is asking, what is the time frame required to configure this? Okay, so if you know what is your scenario, and if you know what it is, it should not take more than a day or two for you to configure this and make it work. No, it's that simple.
That's super fast.
Yeah. You need to only understand this. See, you tell me how much time will it take for you to configure a sale order or a purchase order. So if you know what you want, then it is very. Settlement can be scheduled. Yes, that also can be done. Settlement can be scheduled, and it can be this one. It can be manually also done, and it can be also done in a group. So that is also possible. Yes, user gets the scheduled job notification, which is standard, right? Which is in the SAP.
Okay. Umang is asking price protection. Yeah.
Yeah, can you, Umang Shah, can you brief me more on terms of price protection in terms of this one?
Can you just unmute yourself and ask your question, maybe provide some more context, Umang?
Hello.
Yes, Umang.
Yeah, just I want to check this particular point where there is a price uncertainty, and based on that, there is some rebate we need to give, not on the quantity or volume or maybe the combination. Is there any scenario maybe you come across where we can, based on that particular point, we can give some protection to customer based on the rebate?
It is possible. We have not configured it, but from the way point of view you are trying to explain the use case, that means what happens is you want to give a price protection. You don't want to increase the price, but just in case some increase in price comes, you would based on rebate, you will try to handle it with the customer. Okay, but what happens is, see, it actually tries to show it very much unknown. We need to really find a way how to deal this. But as of now, technically, I feel it is possible, but we need to find a way to handle this particular item. Okay, unplanned settlement cannot be handled in terms of this one, because
should be settled.
see, any settlement is basically based upon a start date and an end date. Okay, and you cannot, like keep on changing that pattern, because that's the base for any contract. See, any contract, you take any contract will have a start date. Okay, will have an end date. Okay, and you cannot keep on moving. It cannot work for moving goals. No, it is very difficult, but you can see, only thing what you can do is you can reject this contract and you can create another contract with a new timeline. That is possible. But
That should be an
it is
exact-
not recommended. So in case if you are trying to handle the process that way, you are actually creating your own uncertainty with the process. So you should be kind of saying that, no, we will not do this. Okay, and the whole process of running this is to bring every unplanned into a planned settlement.
And even in the audit, there will be a query with for that.
Yeah, audit and all, you will be kind of grilled heavily if unplanned settlements are happening. It's a risk actually. It is as good as like it's an unplanned expense, which will kind of topple your cash flow. Right. So it is very, very important. The whole stuff of the whole exercise of condition contract management is to bring everything under a condition umbrella and then manage the contract. As simple as that. The naming is also very clearly mentioned. Condition contract. Okay. That means you should have to bring everything under one condition umbrella. Then you manage it.
So while we wait for further questions to come, so one of the things that struck me when I was listening to you is the scenario that you gave, right? So for example, if there is a scenario where you've sold, let's say 900 units, and you get an additional 1% if you sell 1,000. So how does the this information gets passed to the sales executives in terms of, to get them to sell that additional 100 units so that you get the rebate? So is there a automation done there? Is there a report?
There is a reporting.
Okay. And this report you send out currently to all sales guys on a scheduled basis, or they can directly check themselves through self-service?
They can directly check in the system. And somebody had asked, like, can we configure if customer live 5,000 to 6,000 watts, then you get 3%. And 6,001 to 7,000, you get 4% possible. That is where I was trying to tell, like a scale. So then graduated scale in the sense, like for 5,000 to 6,000, he will get 3%. 6,000 to 7,000, he will get, that's a graduated scale. And in case 5,000 to 6,000, he can get 3%. And 6,000 to 7,000, he comes in. For the whole volume, he gets at 4%. That's called as a scale basis. So all these are possible.
So maybe there is a while we wait. Sorry, someone was asking a question. Rajiv, is that you? I thought I heard someone asking a question. Okay, so if not, maybe let me continue the conversation. So you said it is a matter of configuration and no additional licenses required, right? So can you just elaborate on that? Is it part of the ES4
It is the standard S4 ERP, this one, whatever you have, basically covers the whole stuff.
Okay. And which version of S4 are you on, if I may ask?
1709.
Okay. Cool. So, Sri, do you have anything to add to what has already been shared in terms of information?
Thanks, Mukesh. I think we have conversation. And add to whatever I told, Redington is already a RISE customer, and they've been pretty successful in moving to RISE now also. And if the participants who have some questions not relating even to rebate, but some experience that you want to listen on the RISE, please do feel free to ask. I'm sure Bernie sir would be glad to share his experience on the RISE movement also. I think.
Yeah, somebody has asked, does the sales representative incentive can get calculated? Not in this. You can use this information to calculate, which is possible, but you cannot use within the condition contract umbrella. There is no incentive, this one which is available. But this information can be used for incentive calculation. Any other questions from anybody?
So from a RISE perspective, right? So she said that you've gone through and now are live with RISE with SAP. So the question that I wanted to ask was, how was the decision to move to RISE made within your organization? So were you already live on ECC, or were you on S4? Were you on SOH? What was your journey like from the to the transition to RISE with SAP?
So we were in on-prem and with 1709. Okay, we went live in 2019, and we have been in 1709, and we have been only doing our OS level upgrades and patch level upgrades on a yearly basis. So we are pretty still now in 1709 only. Okay, we have not moved up on terms of this one. So with the RISE, what had happened is the advantage of RISE is basically to move into a cloud environment. Okay, so that is the basic idea. That is number one. Number two is you get the most of the responsibilities from the administration point of view to SAP rather than you holding it. So that is another for this one which was kind of thought about. Third thing is again your business volumes are increasing, so you cannot be running a brick and mortar kind of this one. You need to get into a digital kind of a mindset. So cloud has to be a kind of a focus for us. So all the way we have to get into that, and definitely from the cost perspective, you need to really handle it very well. Otherwise, like when you get into a cloud, what happens is how the cloud players play is you can put any data for free into their system, but when you consume data, you will be metered. Okay, so you need to be very careful. Okay, so that means if you are accessing data for 100 times from a cloud, this one, it is better to get with on-prem rather than going to the cloud. Okay, if your data volume is going to be very heavy in terms of increasing, okay, but you don't too much consume. There are mechanisms through which you can consume data, okay, which can be kind of sanitized, and this one. So we also did that actually. So if you really look at we went with the HANA DB on the cloud, okay. So that way, what happens is whatever the complete SAP, if you are querying, it takes too much of time. So some 150 tables are the ones which you regularly query. So what you can do is only those 150 tables you need to kind of take it out of ERP and replicate it in your HANA DB. So once you do the replication, it's a kind of a real-time replication. Okay. Once you start doing that, then your 150 tables becomes the whole set from which a query needs to be run, which will be much, much faster. In fact, we are seeing queries running 20 times faster than what it is supposed to be. Already HANA is faster, and the way too many tables has been rationalized into very nicely within HANA compared to ECC. But if you really look at it still further, if you want to do a great this one, you can try to kind of take it onto a HANA DB and then you process it. So it gives you a great efficiency in terms of the information, whatever you get. Yeah, so that in fact we were in a position to do that. So which is good.
Nice. And any experience that you can share on the entire journey itself and how SAP supported you?
Yeah, it was a three-party this one. So we had entity data who supported us as well. We had a SAP who was also kind of a major this one who was setting up the entire this one. So they had like a global customer center who was kind of trying to closely work with us in terms of this one. Apart from that, we had our own resources who were also working on that, and we could able to do a good amount of this one there. Yeah. Can we configure amount-based rebate? Like if customer lived, yeah, that is value. What I'm talking about is value, volume. Value is money. Volume is this one, and support can be on any basis. It need not be percentage. It can be like if person picks this, he will get 100 rupees, 10 rupees, or something like that. All that is possible. So whatever you can imagine on the rebates are all possible. Now, like I have not seen a scenario which goes outside this one, except the only thing is outside it goes only you need to configure. You don't need to kind of this one. So the pricing procedures are configurable within your this one. No, like it is similar to your sales or purchase. If you are familiar with sales and purchase, particularly configuring this one, then you should be very much. It is same. You don't need to kind of differently look at this. The same conditions you create and then a condition table, you are like access sequence and those things, same stuff which happens here.
I'm assuming that this is applicable for both incoming rebate and outgoing rebate as well. So for example, if you are giving rebates to someone else, that also works. And if you're receiving rebates from
that's what we call sell in and sell through. Sell in the sense whatever I
claim it from the vendor.
From the vendor, sell out or sell through, they call it, is basically the ones which I give it to my partner. Both are possible.
Interesting.
You don't need to kind of this one. Only thing where you have this one is it differentiates based on the condition, the condition type, whatever contract type you are using, right? OS01 is sales, OP01 is purchase.
Correct. Maybe a quick question for everyone else who's on the call already. So how many of you are already on S4HANA live and using S4HANA? Maybe on the chat, if you can just share yes, no, or in the process of going live, just so that we do a dipstick survey in terms of how relevant it is for everyone on the call. On the chat, if everyone can just put yes, okay, 1909, okay, rise with SAP, okay, no, okay. So we've got what, 3-4 responses, okay. So would be great if everyone just responded with either a yes, no, or maybe.
And another this one, if somebody has not gone into S4HANA, they are in ECC, you still have a rebate which is available within this one, sales. They call it a sales rebate, and it is more on the sales side. Purchase rebates were not kind of very much this one. But overall, when SAP understood that both have rebates in there, this one, they brought this condition contract management separately. So that is when in HANA, it became a feature in terms of this one. Otherwise, if you are only looking at sales rebate, ECC can still use that.
Okay. As for on a public cloud professional services, okay. Thank you, Venkata. Anyone else already on public cloud? I mean, it's interesting. Venkata, would you like to maybe quickly unmute yourself and share how your experience has been on the public cloud?
Yeah. Hi Mukesh. I'm Venkat here.
Hi,
We are from Quinox Consulting. So this S4HANA Public Cloud Professional Services has been implemented for our internal use. So being ITES service provider, we are using this as a solution in our environment. So our journey is from 2018, where we started the implementation, and we are almost 5 years now into S4HANA. So our journey initially, it was ups and downs initially, because public cloud professional services was at a very early stage when we started implementing. So now it has matured a lot, and we can clearly see the change from the day we started and today. Today it is much more matured, and it's a better system, because for a mid and small size organizations who are into ITES services, this is, I feel, it's one of the best solutions available in the market, wherein it almost caters all the requirements, leaving one or two here and there which SAP is still working on. So I think in the coming future, they'll be coming up with the new requirements as well, right? And once that gets implemented, then it will be a full end-to-end solution for any ITES services. So today in S4HANA Public Cloud, we don't have a subscription sale as a solution. So which SAP is working on, because we connect with SAP on the CIP sessions as well. So it's there in their pipeline. So I think they'll be coming out with that. So once they are there, then it will be good.
super. Thanks for sharing that, Venkat.
Yeah, thank you.
Sri, would you like to maybe summarize and conclude, because we have just 3-4 minutes left?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Barney sir and Sri Gupta from Reddington for giving this wonderful session. Other participants, probably you may know, this is our monthly calendarized meeting. We have an upcoming in August. Dates would be announced. Should be either 16th or 17th. We will keep you posted on also topic. We'll share in advance. Please forward the meeting request to your colleagues, plus also other participants from the SAP customers. We'll be glad to have an increased audience for the forthcoming sessions. I hope this session was very good. Anyway, we have recorded the session. It will be available in the YouTube channel of the finance team. You could, anytime you can go and have a look at it. Once again, thank you, Barney sir. Thank you, Sri Gupta, for giving your 60 minutes of your precious time. We look forward for the further sessions. And if there's something new topics which you guys are working on, feel free to reach out to the INDUS team. We'll be happy to give more platform to Reddington. Thank you.
Done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.